And can somebody confirm? Who's
Yeah,
gonna say
you
it?
are. Yeah.
All right, we are live. Welcome to the e-commerce work group on the John Lavinia Success Mastermind Network. It is it's October 5th. Unbelievable how this year has just cruised by, huh? So yeah, October 5th. My name is Stuart Wild. I'm the host of these sessions. I am a student of e-commerce. I always like to disclaim these sessions by saying, I'm not doing these sessions to claim or purport to be some sort of an e-commerce guru or, some sort of seven-figure seller kind of thing. I'm on the path just like you guys, and I'm doing my best to navigate the e-commerce and Amazon labyrinth, and hopefully we can all work together to solve problems and figure out how to Amazon, okay, or how to e-commerce. I always like to start with some housekeeping. If anybody has any wins they would like to share, that would be awesome. If anybody's got any challenges that they're personally working through and might need some clarity on, or any questions or anything like that, or any topic suggestions for future sessions. So I'll open the mic for that if anybody wants. Just in time to take my sip of coffee. Great. Well, I'll give you guys some updates, okay? And so update number one is our what I've been calling like our main product, 300 units of cargo that came from overseas is sitting in the port of LA waiting to clear customs. It's been a few days. Once that clears, then we're literally going to be getting a giant shipment of product that then we're going to do some compilation packaging. We have another product in Canada that's being manufactured and sent to us, and we're going to put both of them together, doing some graphic design. We're going to do it in-house for our insert, or maybe Mary's going to do it for me. Did you catch that? So yeah, and maybe in a future session, maybe we'll do like a Photoshop 101 or a graphic design 101, things like that. So I'm working on inserts and things like that. We're working on category approval in a restricted category, and maybe this evening I will just submit my application online, and you guys can all be a part of that for us to be approved in the grocery catalogs. If anybody's done any restricted categories, or if you're interested in it, we'll try and do that tonight. Going to be writing copy and creating a new listing. So I know a lot of you guys are doing that as well for your products. So, maybe all these things, it seems like we keep revisiting the same topics, but that's because at a certain point it's lather, rinse, repeat, right? And I think we all need reinforcement on those things as we're moving forward. As some of you know, we decided to become the manufacturer of our test product, our Etsy product that was only supposed to be a little test deal. And it sold well. We sold out of it. And we tried to resource. We couldn't find anybody that would resource within our price point. We did a little research and made a decision that we were going to become the manufacturers of our own product. So Ivier was mentioning before, and I know some of you guys know this, but yeah, we've been researching and purchasing manufacturing equipment. We've been researching and sourcing ingredients, and this is a personal care product with about 5 or 6 different ingredients, and we're sourcing everything organic, non-GMO, made in the USA kind of stuff. So it's really been a challenge. We've kind of been at it for over a week now, and finally found a distributor in California that I think will be able to supply us with most of the, let's say, ingredients for this product. And then we've been sourcing eco-friendly packaging. So I know you guys, some of you guys have been working on that. And maybe those of you that know a little bit about me know that I care about nature and the environment. And one of the things that I feel is important, at least for our business model, is to be as green, as eco, recycled, recyclable, all kinds of, earth-friendly ingredients, non-GMO, organic, all that stuff. So it's really an interesting thing. And yeah, we're converting our garage to a manufacturing facility. And then through that whole process, in terms of like assessing our resources and skill sets and things like that, we've had requests to become a warehousing supplier for some of the Blue Sky people that want to have a warehouse facility here that then we can, not to be a fulfillment facility, because that's more than I want to do. I don't want to be packaging stuff and shipping things out all the time, but once in a while to re-up people's inventory with Amazon, we're going to be doing that. So that's pretty cool. And then honestly, next is website and moving off platform and Shopify and all that stuff. So I know these are all things you guys are working on. And then honestly, this week, I think we're going to pull the trigger on IP Accelerator and brand registry. So these are all things that we've been talking about for a while. And this is why I was kind of saying all these seeds that we've been sowing are all kind of, starting to sprout. What's up, Jamie? How you doing, brother? So I wanted to go over a couple things. I think I got some news I want to go over. And then last week, we were going to do GTIN exemption and brand exception at the request of several people, not least Joe and Regina. And so I thought we would go over the new rules for GTIN exemption. And I'm going to apply for a GTIN exemption right here live with you guys too. So I thought this would be fun to like actually do some stuff on the seller account, and you guys can see how some of these things work. And then we'll talk about brand exception, because I know there's been a lot of confusion between what is brand exception and what is brand registry and things like that. And I'll go through that process if anybody is interested in getting their brand approved without necessarily having to get trademarks. And then, yeah, if we have time, I'll apply for a restricted category. So, oh, Susie just noticed my name. Heck yeah, yay to GTIN, Kim, all right. I am gonna go back to speaker view here so John doesn't get mad at me. And then if it's cool with you guys, I'm gonna share screen. And then I've got a few things that we can work on here. Can you guys see my screen yet? Yes, okay. So couple things. I wanted to mention, I can't stress enough, and I want to thank Evelyn as well for, posting updates and news from the Seller Central, because really there's some amazingly valuable information in here. And if you guys know about the news feed on Seller Central, everybody should know about that. It's usually on the left of your Seller Central account. I don't know if it's the same in the UK, but it should be prominent on your main page of your seller dashboard. So Amazon is doing a whole series of webinars on pay-per-click, and we're going to be doing ongoing. Last week we had a great session with Jane and Neil, and we'll probably revisit that or get into more detailed PPC in coming sessions. But if you're interested there, and again, you go to your news feed, and this is the tag here, the headline, learn how to start advertising with sponsored ads. There's one on Wednesday at 1 o'clock Pacific. And each of these, and again, another one on Wednesday on the 14th, Tuesday the 20th. And if you want to, sign up for any of these, you just click here and it'll bring up a place where you can register for each one. Okay, you guys see that? And sometimes if there's several times, it'll give you choices for times, but this one just has one. So there you go. So I think that's valuable. I'll probably, the one on keywords looked interesting to me. So, so I'll probably sign up for that one. But anyway, just to let you guys know that that's a cool thing. Okay. Evelyn, you posted something about selling in Canada and Mexico. And I want to know, did you actually do that on your seller account? Did you actually send inventory to Canada or Mexico?
I actually, Mary and I did it. We added to those two markets. Mine is still kind of on hold for Canada because, my stuff is natural products, topical. So it needs approval. I spoke with Amazon seller support today. And they told me to give it time because there was a big influx of people that wanted to also put their inventory available. It doesn't get shipped unless someone in Canada buys. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's what it is. And my Mexico listing went live like this. And the beauty of it, and I suggest everyone to do this, is translate it, you guys,
Oh, that's cool.
perfectly.
So let me ask you this. Did you have to create a new listing in the marketplace?
No, I just went through, Mary, help me here.
Okay.
Shipping, what did we do? Shipping, gosh, is
Let me jump in. You can.
I put the
I-
instructions on the Facebook group.
Yeah, I saw that. I definitely saw that. So what I'm looking at here is that in order to do this, you have to sign up for remote fulfillment with FBA, okay?
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And that way it'll fulfill from your inventory that you already have in FBA in the US whenever there's a purchase from Canada or Mexico.
So,
Yeah.
so just to reiterate what Amazon is saying, is that you gotta be signed up for remote fulfillment, and then they will automatically pull from your US inventory. You deal with import duties and all this other stuff, and it seems like it's all done for you, and that's pretty cool. So what I did was I clicked on the remote fulfillment link here, and this is what I got, okay? And so, and this is what it'll show up for you, get to know remote fulfillment. You can find this in your inventory tab, and you select remote fulfillment with FBA, and it'll pull up this page, okay? And essentially,
You can see what the fees will be.
yep, it'll show you what the fees are. And then I think my window here is covering it. But on the, okay, let me put this on the bottom here. And then at the bottom here, you can see you click next, right? And that's what you guys did?
Yes.
Was there a
Yes.
fee?
No.
And so it just happens automatically. Super cool. Awesome.
But all the other thing that you have to do, I would say that I did, if you click your inventory tab again and go a little bit further down and it says sell globally. And here in the next menu, or go back up. So where it says sell globally, and then next to it, it said, oh, go back up just a little bit. Build international listings. I don't know if you clicked on that, Evelyn, but I did.
I didn't do that.
Oh, really? Okay.
I went to the remote fulfillment just the way that Stuart was doing it, and just follow the steps. Just click next, click next. It will walk you.
Yeah. Okay.
One
Because
that
it shows you that it's going to take your listing and, like you said, Evelyn, it's going to convert it to the language for that country and list it automatically for you. And it takes a little while. It's nothing with Amazon is instantaneous. You know that, right? Whenever you make a change, you have to wait 24 to 48 hours for it to show up.
So, hang on. What did I do?
So I've seen twice now price rules. Do you know what that is?
You can set the price rules to be this the same as your Amazon pricing, but they will convert it automatically to that currency.
Yes.
Good. Very cool.
Or you can change it to a little different. You can charge a little bit more if you wanted to.
Interesting. So you can have different prices for your US market and Canada or Mexico markets. Okay.
They're allowing you to do it, so I'm thinking
That's
it's
great to know.
not any problem.
That's great to know. Okay. So there's that, right? Remote fulfillment. Does anybody want me to leave this up for a second? You can look at the fees.
See, it's already converted to that currency in Canada and also in Mexico.
So they charge you an extra $7 is what for a small standard, right?
Yeah, and the customer will pay for the fees to, what is it? Export?
Import duties. Duties.
Okay, there you go. Import
But do
duties.
you pay, it looks like you pay this, right? This extra
Oh,
$7.
this types
Yes,
of,
but understand that's already converted into Canadian dollars.
Understood. Understood. Okay, great. Let me close out of that.
so
And then, go ahead,
so
Evelyn.
I found the instructions. Make sure that you're logged in into your Amazon seller account. go to the inventory tab, just like, you did, click on remote fulfillment with FBA, and then follow the instructions. In other words, where you were at that page, when it says next,
Yeah.
you will select which one of your FBA listings you want them to be sold in the other two markets. That's it. You're not moving inventory. And the funny thing is, 2 weeks prior to this happening, Mary and I were talking, and I'm like, okay, I want to sell in Canada, In my opinion, the logical thing to do was to what's happening right now. But apparently, I had to create the whole shipping plan and send inventory directly to Canada. And that, just turned me off. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. Forget that.
Right.
And
Oh, so this solves that problem for you.
that solves the problem. You're shipping to one place, well, to the USA, and they make it available for you now.
You got to give props to Amazon for really trying to find solutions for sellers. It's it's a great idea. Makes it easier for everybody.
There is good news to this. Mary brought up to my attention. I had an email I had not even noticed. They give us $200 for a PPC campaign.
Oh, fabulous! For signing up for remote fulfillment.
Yes.
That's worth the price of admission right there. That's awesome.
I'm not sure if it has anything to do with the remote fulfillment. I think it has to do with Q4.
No,
Amazon gives you $200?
Amazon is giving us credit.
Wow.
Evelyn, if you can find where they notify you of that, maybe take a screenshot or.
Yeah, that was an email that I received, and
It was directly related. It was directly related to the Fulfillment by Amazon program.
well,
remote
it came from
program?
Amazon, but I'm not sure now. I'll have to look back at it to see if it had to do with Q4 or the remote fulfillment. But it was a $200 credit towards your PPC costs.
Sweet. Okay, well, if you can find that, share it. All right, so I wanted to let you know that this is a benefit of brand registry, but if you guys didn't know, there's a whole new thing where you can bundle products as a brand registered seller, and it's a different kind of bundling where you can take your own ASINs and offer them together. Go ahead, Evelyn.
I just found it. It is create Prime Day ad campaigns with $200 Canadian in promotional clicks.
So it's a Canadian promo. That must be what it is. It's a Canadian promo. If you sign up for the remote program, then Amazon Canada Advertising offers you a promo to do PPC there.
It says Prime Day. Does it say just Prime Day?
Yeah, I'm gonna get out of this for a moment and find the email on my laptop and copy it and on the Facebook group, unless you want me to share that page. So you all can
I mean, if you got it, if you take a picture of it or whatever, drop it in the chat box. People can.
I can do that.
Take a look at it or whatever, or I'll let you share your screen when you find it. So let me go back to this virtual bundles. It seems really cool. Again, I'm not brand registered yet, but when I am, this seems like a great thing where it's kind of the answer to frequently bought together, which we as sellers do not have control over. Amazon kind of picks the frequently bought together thing, whereas this offers you as a seller the ability to take multiple ASINs of your own catalog, of your own inventory, and offer them together as a unit. And that seems like a cool new thing. And so I want to show you guys that when I clicked on, learn more about virtual bundles, right? So I click here, and that's what I get. Right. So essentially, it's saying that I'm not brand registered, and that I'm not eligible for the virtual bundle program. So I just wanted to show you that, but I think it's cool. Next, again, it's right in the news feed. There's something called the Climate Pledge Friendly Program. And if you have, issues with, the way things are worded, you can call it the eco-friendly pledge. And so there's a link here. Essentially, it makes your product stand out a little bit more. And they're creating, like a certification type program, which it seems like will indicate to the consumer that your product is eco-friendly, right? So I clicked on how do you qualify? And so here you go, qualify for the thing. There's no fee. Designed to help customers. And again, remember, this goes back to Amazon's mission, right? Is about the customer experience, right? So to help the customer discover and shop for more sustainable products, they partnered with third-party certifications and created their own called Compact by Design. So that's the name of Amazon's certification. And that is essentially, you have to be certified by any of these following ones that I'll show you in a minute. Benefits include friendly badging in shopping results and detail pages, including inclusion in the climate-friendly landing page. So I think they're going to have like when somebody clicks on the climate-friendly or the eco-friendly page, then they'll get a list of products, and maybe you can get yours on. No fee. How do you qualify? You have to be certified in one or more of the qualifying third-party sustainable certifications, or their own Compact by Design certification. So it seems like Amazon will allow you to, or will certify you without any of these other certifications, but I'm sure there's a verification process, right? So to learn more about Amazon's, click here. And I just want to show you, this here is the landing page for this. So these are the different certifications that you can get. Blue sign, safer chemicals, fewer resources, reducing CO2, carbon free. Here's Compact by Design, which is has less air, water, packaging per use, which reduces the carbon footprint, cradle to cradle, eco logo. Obviously, you guys can check all this out if you want, but there's obviously a lot of cool certifications that if you are of a green mind and want to have those kinds of products, then that may be a good route for you guys. And then here's their Compact by Design. So it's about less packaging, right? More efficient product sizes. It's very cool. Again, props to Bezos for trying to create some sort of a niche market or niche platform for green and eco products. Is that cool?
Yep. I'm ready.
Now we can get into GTIN exemptions, okay? So again, this is September 28th, so just last week, Amazon changed their requirements for GTIN exemptions. If you remember, previously, up until this point, if you wanted to get a GTIN exemption for anything other than generic for your brand, then you would have had to have submitted a, what was it called, a brand support letter, where essentially you authorize yourself. You had to write this little letter to Amazon seller support saying that there were no other UPCs for your product, and that you authorize yourself to sell those products. It seemed pretty silly, and so they they got rid of it. Does anybody ever remember having to do that? Who submitted a brand support letter?
Stuart, I did it. It's
Yeah.
Elmer. I did. I used exactly the same template that they asked you to download, and I got rejected.
What? Oh, dude, I'm so sorry. Well, guess what? You don't have to worry about that anymore because they did away with it. But yeah, I remember having, I think I had 4 GTIN requests, and I had to do that for all of them. But yeah, so let's move into GTIN exemptions. I know Kim and Phil have been working on this, and I know a lot of you guys as well. So let's just see what the new dealio is, okay? And so again, just so you know, there's a whole page on, and if you ever want to find the GTIN stuff, you just type in GTIN exemption in your little search bar, and not only will it bring up how to list your products, I mean, that's actually the one. So if you click on this, how to list products that do not have, or how to list with a GTIN exemption, this one has a link right here. And I made sure that the link here was the same as the old one that I had, and it is. So just to show you guys, and I haven't been able to find where you actually get to this from your Seller Central account, but you do know, Evelyn, how do you get to this page where you can see your case logs?
Oh, your case logs. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the GTIN.
Hmm.
Sorry.
No, let me show you this. So check this out. So, there's a page here, and I think, if you do a search, maybe it comes up in that search bar on the right. I'll find out again, but I've had bookmarked. And essentially, these are all the GTIN exemption requests that I submitted. And then you can see that, like, there's requests, and it's weird. I don't know why, but some of them have the brand name, others don't. Some of them have the product categories, others don't. Not really sure why, but these are 4 approvals for GTIN exemption requests. You can see that the status is answered, right? And once you submit a request, maybe that's what it is. Right after you submit the request for the GTIN approval or the GTIN exemption approval, there's a little place where it says, see all of your requests, and we'll get there in a second. So I just want to show you that there is a way that you can see, that you can view your requests. Okay, so essentially, I clicked on this, right? So I went to the how to list products that do not have a UPC. I think actually on the bottom, right, on the help page, there's a GTIN exemption thing as well. But anyway, I clicked on this, apply for a GTIN exemption, and this is what I get, okay? And those of you that have been through this process, you understand that they ask you to select a product category, and going back to our ongoing discussion and giggles about how things on Amazon don't always add up, I've noticed on several occasions that the category that I select, because here's the deal, when you select a category for your GTIN exemption and you put your brand name in there, when you list your product, you have to be really careful that you're listing the product in the same category that you have the exemption for. And I've read a lot of things that, like, even with the right stuff, Amazon, like Elmer was saying, we all know this, that sometimes you don't get approved. Here's the thing too, you can add more categories, right? So you can do, several at a time. I've done up to 4 at a time. For this, I'm gonna do just 1. And so you guys notice, it says for unbranded items, enter generic, right? But we're doing, those of you that watched, was it Fiona's or somebody did a module on Blue Sky about the GTIN exemption, right? And they did it, I think it was Lisa. And,
Lisa Mitchell, yeah.
And Lisa, and she's wonderful and great, and she did a great demo, but she told us all to do generic, but we also all know that if we want to have private label products, then we don't want to have our products listed as generic, right? So if you're kind of just doing a test product and you want to see what's up, maybe generic is a fine way to go. But considering how easy it really is now to get a GTIN exemption, it's not that big a deal. So I will tell you that, and this is where the infamous error 5665 shows up, okay? Because if I'm putting a brand name in here, right? But if Amazon has not pre-approved that brand, either through brand registry or what's called brand exception, which is a non-trademark way to be able to list products under your brand, if I did not already have prior approval for brand exception for this brand exactly written this way, then when I clicked eligibility, it wouldn't allow me to, and I would get the classic error 5665. Does anybody ever remember seeing that?
So I'm confused. I thought that's why I'm doing an exemption to put my brand in here.
So you want, it's kind of a weird thing that you have to like reverse engineer, or at least that I have reverse engineered, because again, if your brand is not already approved by Amazon as either a registered trademark brand or what's called a brand exception, and that's why I'm doing these things together so that you can see, and essentially I'm going to go back and show you how to get your brand exception. Because if you do not already have your brand exception approval, then if you select this, like if I just typed in any kind of random brand and click for eligibility, it would say you are not eligible to list under these things. You would wind up getting this error 5665. Okay. And it says Amazon must approve your brand before you can use it to list products. Brand should be registered through brand registry, but if your brand is not eligible for brand registry, and you can substitute if you don't want to spend the money to get a trademark and still have your brand be able to list products under your brand, then you can obtain an exception by contacting seller partner support and mentioning error code 5665. When contacting seller support, provide the following information: the brand name used when created the listing, real world images of the product, and or this is where like you got to really follow exactly what they say, okay? Real world images of the product and or packaging, meaning it could be either, right? Showing the branding on either. The images can show the product and or packaging held in the hand or placed on a table. The branding must be permanently affixed.
Isn't that what you're doing right now?
No, getting a GTIN exemption is just getting a UPC code for your product. And if you were just listing as generic, then you wouldn't have to go through this. But if you want to get a GTIN exemption for a brand, then there's only two ways you can do that. The brand either has to be trademarked and brand registered with Amazon, or you get what's called brand exception, okay? So I'm going to go back here. Okay, and permanently affixed. So, you know, we talked to our coach about this, and essentially, you know, he said, well, nobody really knows what that means, right? Because we were like, does it have to be like, you know, somehow made into the product, right? Or can it be like a sticker? And he was like, you know what? Some people got approved for this or that, other people didn't. We did a sticker on our product, and we got approved. And we actually sent the I got like I downloaded a label template and for like a circular label, like a little whatever that company is that does all the
Avery,
Avery, exactly. I downloaded a little circular label template I designed just in Word, right? My little label. I sent it, I turned it into a PDF, and I emailed it to our supplier in China, and they printed out the label and they attached it to the product, and they sent us pictures. And so we were able to not have to wait for the product to arrive in order to do that. Remember, Kim, did we talk about that a little bit?
You know, the problem I have, but I'm going to try and do it anyway, is my sample that he sent me had some holes in the top corner, right in each corner. He was assuming that, you know, you would put a screw in there to hang it, and I didn't want it like that. And so I have to have a new sample sent to me. So I'm kind of in this place. I'm going to just take a picture with the sample that he's given me. And
or you could get a head start on the process and have him send you a picture with a sticker. Just saying. What's interesting, the word that I heard you use there was assume. Does anybody want to address that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to learn that real quick with these suppliers, I'm sure.
It's with everything. It really is. It's with everything, right? I mean, it's a lesson for life and everything. The more clear we are in our communication with our suppliers, with our friends, with our spouses, with our business associates, whatever, right? It just it does a lot to avoid confusion or situations like that. And believe me, you know, I've commiserated or shared some of my challenges with things as a direct result of not understanding the process or just thinking that something was going to be that way or whatever. So yeah, watch those external assumptions. And if you're using an inventory file template, then you do the batch ID, but I don't do those. And, you know, maybe at some point we have, I think for inventory file templates, you have to be submitting more than a certain number of products, right? I don't know if it's more than 100 or whatever it is. Okay, so I'm going to go back. Where's the GTIN exemption? Okay, so actually now I am going to show you the email that I sent to get brand exception. okay? Notice that what I put in the subject line, simple, but put all the information in there, right? Brand exception request for your brand. And then it said, mention error code 5665, right? So that's what I did. I put it in the title. Here's my thing. Hello, Amazon Support. We were recently approved to sell on the topicals. We applied and received the GTIN exemption for our brand. Oh, that's what it is. So you can get the GTIN exemption for your brand, but you can't list the product. So if you go to list the product, then you get the error code 5665. Can I get an amen to that?
Amen.
Okay. So what I did was I said, I'm emailing this request for brand exception approval for, because again, what's the point of having the GTIN exemption if you don't get the approval for it? So I put the brand name in bold so that they would see it. And then I said, I'm attaching photographs of the product and packaging, showing the branding on both the product and the packaging. Please see the photographs, blah, blah, blah. And let's see, when did I put this out? 7/23, okay? Here's the reply, 7/24. So within 24 hours, okay? Hello, from Amazon Selling Partner Support. We understand you're having issues when trying to list new products. Thank you for the information you provided. As of now, we have an important update. We have completed our review and concluded that that your use of Thrive Organics adheres to the brand name policy. You can now create new ASINs using the brand name. Okay, so I think I had the process switched, but you would not be able to list the product under your brand name without already having this done. So again, not a big deal, just an email, right? And again, you know, if anybody wants, I'll cut and paste this and, you know, put it in the chat or whatever it is. And then you can see that just by doing that, and of course you have to send the pictures, mention error code 5665, okay?
So can I ask a question?
Of course, yes.
So my logo is multicolored, and when they go to put it on the product, they say it can only be printed in black,
I don't
right?
think that makes a bit of difference. If you go back to their requirements,
Okay.
doesn't say anything about that. All they want to see is your branding on the product.
Okay.
One of the things that we did kind of after the fact was we printed up a little label, because I realized after we you know, got our product together that it didn't have like the name and address, and I read somewhere that, you know, it's a good idea to have the name and address of your company on the box, and so we put a sticker on there and sent that with the pictures, and there was no logo at all. It was just your company info, right? And that can be like branding. They don't say it has to be a logo. They don't say it has to be 4-color. They don't say it has to be anything. You know, your branding can just be your product, your company name, and info. So that's what worked for us, because we didn't. I just literally, the thing that I sent to our supplier in China was literally just type. It was just type copy on a little label, and that's what they printed out to put on the sticker.
Okay.
Okay. So here I'm going to check for eligibility, and of course this is. Hey Joe, what's up, dude?
Yeah, I had one question on the branding. In other words, we have our label is attached to our product. Now, when we package it, does it have to be on the packaging also, the label, or just on the
It
product?
has to be on the product or packaging. So it can be on both, but it has to at least be on one.
Okay. All right.
All right. So I'm checking for eligibility here. Now this is like where the big fail is, right? Like I could do this and they could be like, you're screwed. We're suspending your account. So let's see what happens here. Exemption is provided. You'll be able to use and add as many of your products without applying exemption for again. Okay. Then it's going to say continue to submit proof. So let's see what it says here. So they're still asking for the letter.
But if you hit no, and then you should be able to do pictures. See the upload product?
Yep, exactly. So here's
Yeah.
what's interesting. So what if I said,
I only know that because
what
I
if I
just
said
watched
yes?
Lisa's.
See, this is so strange, right? So this should not even be here is what I'm saying, based on their little news story. But that just shows us that that's what the deal is there. So for this product, I do have images. Let's see here. Let's see if I can, you know what, it'll probably take me a little while to find the right images for this. Product name, interesting. So this seems a little different.
And can I just say, because I just literally just watched this last night,
Please.
Lisa's last night. So I'm pretty sure she said that this has to match. If you want to go into Blue Sky and pull hers up, but I'm pretty sure she said this has to match whatever you put in that beginning. Like, didn't you have to put a product name at the beginning somewhere?
Yeah, but that not the product name. You have to choose a category. So this is a little
Okay.
different. But I would say that what you put here is going to have to match your product
The
title,
listing.
your product
listing.
title on your listing.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And again, let me see if I want to find these photos and drop them in here. I think that's going to be a little much for me to start digging through product images. So
just put a photo, right?
well, they're going to ask me. Let's see. I can't just.
Oh, because you want to actually do it.
Right. Well,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I really I was planning on doing this, and
I thought this was a
I
test.
didn't
Sorry.
forgot that I was going to have to do.
Well, see,
photos.
he doesn't want us to see the photo because he thinks somebody we might steal it.
Oh my God, you are so funny. You said that, Jamie. All right, dude. That's the challenge here. Hold on a second.
I know you don't. I'm kidding.
Oh my God, I love it. Let's see.
Oh my God,
see,
I thought I had a lot of folders.
love it.
Holy crap.
I muted
So
myself.
can I ask a question?
Yes.
With GTIN exemption, do you have to get an exemption for each product category or each product that you
No,
want?
it's each category. So if you noticed on the previous page, it said you are eligible to list products, any products in this category. So it's the GTIN exemption is category wide. And again, I want to go back and make sure that that I don't screw this up, right? So I've got you this far on the GTIN exemption. When you, I wish I had put those.
It's up to us to go further, right?
Well, no, maybe I'll go back next week or something like that.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, that you have to create a G10 for every category. So if
Yes,
you
for
so
your-
if you throw
for
your
your brand.
product into multiple categories, you have to create that many G10s.
Yeah, and if you notice, if you go back to the previous page,
It had add
yeah, you can have
category.
you can have several categories.
Right.
And so-
Okay. Okay. All right.
Hold on.
Can
Oh,
I?
all at once. You could do it all at once.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
again,
That's what I thought.
I read something that said like don't do too many at once or whatever. But I did like on a brand that I didn't really care quite so much about, right? And so like I kind of like a merch brand for like t-shirts and coffee mugs and stuff like that. And so I just tried for like, because it wasn't quite as it wouldn't have been as devastating to me if we got rejected or not approved or whatever. And so yeah, we were able to get 4 categories per exemption. So anyway, all right. So now we did. Does anybody else other than me like submitting those photos? Does anybody else have any questions about GTIN exemption? Because essentially what happens is you submit the proof. Let's go back. Okay, so obviously there's requirements. All sides of the product and package, right? So I think in this place, in this situation, you don't want to just send one image, right? You want to attach several because they're specifically asking for all sides of the product and package. Okay, any other questions on that? I'm sorry I didn't follow through on my application here. Yeah, man, what's up?
Man, do you just call me a man?
No, sorry, not at all. Senora.
Senora, por
What?
favor. Messing with you. So something hilarious happened to me last Friday. I shared that with Kim and Debbie and Mary this afternoon on this hospitality suite. It has been 2 months since I last had my private label product there. And I didn't know what to do. I was like so confused. What am I supposed to do? Do I have to do a GTIN? And how come I'm not getting a GTIN exemption? And what the heck is going on? And then it just hit me. It is the same category. You know, you're not supposed to be requesting for an exemption on your own brand, duh. Because
That's great. Well, you know, I mean, I got to say, like, when you get those emails that say you've been approved, right? Or even just that thing from the last page that said you are eligible. Once you're approved, you can sell any product in this category, right? They say it a few times. That's hilarious.
Yes. So it was like, I cannot believe this. And I could not move. And Mary and I back and forth. And do you do this? And do you do this? And then it's like, do I really need a GTIN exemption? Why? You know, it was a blonde moment, I swear. No offense to anybody that is blonde. But Jesus, it was, all I had to do was just create the listing.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Leah
I
calls me
will
blonde.
add to that. And I didn't realize that when I got approval to use my brand name, I didn't realize that I wouldn't have to do that every time I wanted to list another product. So I was in the same boat as Evelyn. I'm like, oh, it just happened.
Right.
Wait, it was so hard the first time. But once you get this, the next time's so much easier.
Oh, it's supposed to be easier.
I had to go back and read all those emails again because it's been a while. You saw it was like, July 23rd or whatever. So this is stuff that I was doing, you know, a good month and a half ago or whatever. And yeah, going back and reading, I was like, wait, what categories am I approved in? What brands do I have that have been approved through brand exception? Because I'm kind of working a few brands and some of them have GTIN, you know, and so yeah, it's an interesting thing. And I think this is probably a good point, a good time to mention that if you don't use folders in your email, right, it's probably a good idea to, you know, create, just like you do on your desktop, right, to create folders within your email client that, you know, are things like GTIN exemptions, category approvals, brand exceptions. And so that it's really easy to go back because, you know, honestly, a lot of those things, when you look at those emails, it'll just say, you know, case number or something like that on top. And like, it's just harder to find those things. And it's probably, you know, I was glad that I put all those things in one place because it was easy to go back and look and kind of see what exemptions I had for what categories, what brands were approved and all that kind of stuff. Awesome.
Okay, so can I ask a final question? And
Yeah.
please, if I were sitting in front of you, I know you'd be throwing something at me now.
Heck
I know.
no, heck no. What are you talking about?
Okay, so because I feel like I've asked this 100 times, but okay. I found a really awesome little nugget today, which has helped me a lot. It talks about the UPCs, the EANs, what they mean, what you need them for. And the title of it is How to Buy UPC Codes for Amazon and the Dirty Secrets About Free UPCs That You Won't Hear About from Other Sellers. So, but here's my question. So in reading this, okay, a GTIN is a global trade item number, right?
Yes.
And that's like universal. Like, so Europe uses the EAN and ISN and we use the UPC. So what I'm hearing you say is that you're doing a GTIN exemption, which means this is the way I understand this. You do not want to get a UPC code right now. Is that correct? You don't want to get a GS1 label right now.
Correct.
So my question is this. So if you do an exemption and you don't get the GS1 labels, then where are your labels coming from?
They come when you create your listing, and then Amazon assigns you an ASIN, and they will also assign that product, that ASIN, they will assign an FN SKU.
FN SKU.
And so the
So that
FN
is your
SKU
label then.
the FN SKU, and let's be clear, it's not a label, it's a barcode, right? So like,
Right.
just
Okay,
like, let's
sorry.
try and
Yep.
use the, just so we all know what we're talking about, because essentially then you're gonna take your FN SKU, which is your barcode, and then you're gonna download the PDF file that
Uh-huh.
then you're either gonna print out as a label or you're gonna send to your supplier to affix to each unit, right?
Okay, that's where I was
And-
getting hung up on. Okay.
No, and
Okay.
I like the question because it reminds us all, like, okay, so GTIN is a kind of top level word that covers all the different UPCs, right? Or barcode types, right? And then so
Right.
that can be the UPC, the EAN, or any of those other ones that we've been listing. If you don't want to pay for those right now, or ever for this product, if it's just going to be an Amazon product, then you can ask Amazon to give you an exemption so that you don't need a UPC to list that product, and then Amazon creates a UPC for you, and their version of the UPC is called an FN SKU.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right? And I think that's good for all of us. Anybody want to add to that?
Stuart?
I would just say that I'm glad that you went through the brand name approval, because I think that was unclear to a lot of us also, that these are two separate steps,
Yes.
and doing the brand name approval first before the GTIN exemption approval, perfect.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, we found out that you don't have to do that first, but it just seemed like the natural progression for me was like, get your brand approved, then you get your exemption for your UPC for that brand, and then when you go to list the product, because essentially here's what happens is once you get approved for your GTIN, and this was the kick in the ass for me, once you get approved for your GTIN, they're like, yay, you're approved, you can list your product. Then you go list the product and like, wah, wah, you're not approved, you got to go through this thing, right? So it just seemed to me like, why intentionally get to a roadblock? Why not do the road plow and clear the path, so that when you get there, it's just boom, 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 right? I don't understand that, and I'm sorry if I confused anybody, but that just seemed like the logical progression to me, and hopefully you guys understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Stuart.
Yep,
And
thank
again, this thing on brand name policy, if you go into your search bar up top, you just type in brand policy. You scroll down a little bit and you go to Amazon brand name policy. I don't know about you guys, but you notice when you click on something in the search bar, then it shows up in the sidebar here. On the one hand, I can see that as being convenient, to look at. On the other hand, I've also found that I want to look at it on a full page. You guys see what I'm saying? So what I'll usually do is with these links, what I'll do is right click, open a new tab, right? And then it pulls, and this works for anything that shows up in this sidebar, and then you get a full
Oh,
page
you just
dealio.
drag it in there?
Then you get a full page dealio. Yeah, what I just, I right click, sorry, hold on. I'll right click on the link, and then I just open in a new tab, and then it pops it open in a new tab, right? And we know about tab browsing. But anyway, so that's the deal there. And this page I found to be very useful in terms of dealing with non-trademark brand name stuff. And it has several of the error codes that you might run into. I haven't run into anything other than the 5665, and that seems to be like the infamous one that like everybody runs into, because again, you do your GTIN, you think it's all great, it says great, you can list your product, and then you go to list your product and you can't list your product, and you have to go back and do this. So again, doing it first means that you don't run into the roadblock when you can go right from getting your GTIN approval to being able to list your product.
Okay, and I'm sorry, so where did you start with the brand name? Where did you go to
So what they tell you to do is start a new case. So you have to go to the bottom of your Seller Central thing, your dashboard. And
to get brand approval?
yes, well, what you need to do is you need to open a new support case, right?
Okay.
So you got to go to like the help
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and case log. Obviously, you got to find the right help thing.
You
Where do
can,
you guys think
can
it
you
could
just
go?
put in the
Let's do
search
this.
bar there?
Let's find the place. Need more help.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
I think you can go right in here. From what I understand, when you start a new case, and maybe when you hit continue, I don't want to start a new case here, but once
Yeah.
you put in your data and you hit continue, at least from what I remember doing, is that there's a place where you can add photos. So what you have to do, right, is you got to, write that that email or message, mentioning error 5665. I am requesting brand exception for this brand, and then be really clear about the name of your brand. And then you got to add photos. So somewhere on this open a case, does anybody know a better way to open a new seller case? Open a case. Case log, maybe it allows you, or here, open a case.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying before you even attempt to do the GTIN, you're doing this first?
Yes. Again, it's interchangeable, but realize that once you get, if you get a GTIN exemption for a brand,
And you're not approved,
and
then,
it's not already been brand approved, then you're just
Yeah.
gonna get you got to do this. So
Okay.
I just come to a place of like, why would I, once you hit the wall, why would you keep hitting the wall?
got it.
So
Okay.
again, I'm just, without taking the time to do this, you got to
Yeah.
open a case and you got to make sure it's the place where you can add photos, because you have to add those images, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay,
And
makes
maybe
sense.
there's a place here where it's like open a new case for new cases and requests. There's got to be a place where you can, just start a new case. Okay, here's the GTIN exemption. Here's the info on brand approval. And let's see, how are we doing on time? When is this thing over? Like 3 minutes?
In 3 minutes.
I love it. Awesome. Okay, so look, check this out. So I wanted to get approval in the grocery and gourmet catalog category. Okay, and so I don't know if you know here, you can see view selling applications. Has anybody ever been there? Has anybody ever tried to apply, or has anybody ever applied for restricted category approval? You go view selling applications, you can create a new application, and once you do, then they're all listed in here. Some of them, and they stay there forever from what I understand, right? And so you can see that I had a couple of drafts and then finally got approved for topicals. Now I have a draft for grocery and gourmet foods. Okay, and whenever you're doing stuff like this, do you guys remember early on, that we thought we were resellers, but we are manufacturers? You guys know that? When you're doing this stuff for Amazon for approval, you are the manufacturer. I think the first time I did topicals, I did it as a reseller and I got rejected. And so then and then our coach told us, oh no, you're the manufacturer. So you put yourself as a manufacturer. You got to make sure there's a little checklist here. Okay, so again, I am requesting approval in grocery and gourmet foods. Okay. Live photos, clearly display, include the model number, name and physical location of the business. That's why I did that, okay? So in our other, for the topicals that we had to get approved in, that's why I made sure that we had the little sticker that had the name and the physical location of the business, okay? Then in the country's local language. So here's what I got going on. These images I had set aside So I'm going to do this. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. These are images of the product with the branding, both sides of the package. I'm going to put right in here. I'll say, even though it may be an AI, I'm like, hi, seller support, right? We're all about being friendly. Thanks so much for approving us to sell in the grocery category. Email address. How's everybody doing? You guys enjoying watching me type here? Gmail. Why didn't anybody tell me to put the .com? Then I'm going to put my phone number. And I'm going to say, thank you very much, Amazon. Oh, there we go. Thank you for submitting. Decision date on or before October 13th. And then you can check the status and it should bring you back to that selling applications page. And now you can see that it's under review. And so there's that. All right. And now I'm going to unshare, stop sharing. Excellent. All right. I'm going to open up the floor just so we can have a chat before we sign off. What do you guys think about that?
Pretty cool.
Yeah, God, that's great information. And I think that we have to continue to go over and over this stuff. Not only because we're all at different levels, but even if we've passed it, to be reminded of it again is so invaluable.
Totally. I haven't created a new listing for a product in, probably more than a month, right? And so I'm ready to do that again. And like, oh, shit, I forgot. This part, whatever.
I'm right
so,
there. I've been doing some of that today. And I'm like, wait, I gotta, oh yeah, that's right. What was the order I needed to do that in? What's most important?
It's true. It's true.
I think I may be wrong, but I'm going to call 2 of you guys out. And if I need more people that are in the same situation, can you let me know? I want to show you the difference between what is a label and an FNSQ on my box. Okay. So I think Gina, you had that question before, and Kim. So here's my box. That is my logo label, which is also on my product. Attach affixed to it. And this is the FNSQ.
Which is printed on a label, but
It is printed on one.
A sticker
Yeah.
label.
And you guys know that if we're doing custom printed boxes, that you can take that PDF and incorporate it into the design of your box so that it's printed on the box, and then you don't have to go through the whole process of printing out labels or sending people labels or whatever. If it's on the box, like when you get to the point where you're doing, a real deal private label product and you're doing your own packaging and all that, even for those for the jars, right? You could have that printed right on the label of the ingredients and all that kind of stuff.
Correct.
So yeah, and then the other thing about labels is, the difference between the FN SKU and the shipping label, right? And you can and Kim, this maybe answers your question too, or expands on your question, because once you create the listing, and also once you create a shipping plan, then you can download those PDFs. There's a separate one for the FN SKU, like Evelyn was showing us. And then there's a separate shipping label. So the FN SKU goes on the individual units, right? So if you have 20 units in a carton, each of those units has a barcode or an FN SKU. All of those units go in a big carton that goes to Amazon. Each individual carton will have its own shipping label. When you set up your shipping plan, you might have 3-4 cartons or whatever, and when you set up the shipping plan, it'll like classic stuff that you get from UPS, box 1 of 6, box 2 of 6, box 3 of 6, whatever it is, and it's all part of one shipment. And this could be another topic for another night, but when you're dealing with the shipments to Amazon, unless you're doing an individual shipment with different SKUs, if you have the same SKU, if you have one box with all the same SKU or FN SKU, then they want the same number of units in each box. You can't have like 20, 20, 25. They all have to have 20. You guys know that?
Yes.
No,
So-
say that again, Stuart.
Okay, so when you set up your shipping plan, they give you an option like on the second screen. And it's like, is this an individual shipment? And it's got a little infographic that shows like if you were selling spray paint and you were shipping in 10 different colors of spray paint all in the same carton, then that's kind of one category of shipments. The other category of shipments that most of us are going to be doing are sending, you know, multiple cartons of the same SKU, right? The same product. So if you send several cartons,
Take a look at the screen.
nice. If you send multiple cartons,
Woot, woot.
oh my God, whoop, whoop. Do that one more time, talk, say something.
This was 5 boxes, basically to reiterate what Stuart is saying. So each one of them said box 1 of 1, box 2 of, I'm sorry, 1 of 5, box 2 of 5, box 3 of 5, and so on and so forth until it was done. But they were all identical with 20 boxes of this in each. There was no variation. But if you're sending different things to say, just to reiterate what Stuart is explaining, then you need to choose they put a little drawing when you're creating the shipping plan, if they're all identical or if you are mixing the items in the box. So let's say that I had 10 of this and the other ones were 10 brown boxes, then you select that and you specify it. So what that will do is it's gonna trigger 2 different FNSQ because it's 2 different.
And really what that means is when you are ordering / negotiating with your suppliers, that when you're talking about how many units you want to buy, I know that like we've, you know, I remember the first thing we learned was like no more than 150 units in a carton. I don't know, unless you're doing something really small, you know, I can't imagine having 150 units in a 25-inch box, right? Imagine how small that would have to be. But when you're negotiating with your suppliers, you may think, oh, well, Amazon is only going to allow me 200 units, right? But what if the supplier says, well, you know, we do, you know, this number of units per carton, but then when you do the math, you know, you're over 200 units, right? So it's going to be a weird thing where you may either have to come as close to the 200 units as you can, or in Evelyn's case, she was lucky that she got 5 boxes of 20 units each, right? And so, you know, if you're doing something else, it could turn into an uneven number. And so you almost have to, again, reverse engineer to be able to get to where you have the same number of units in each box. Jamie, you've had your hand up for a while. Sorry, brother, man. What's up?
Oh, I just wanted to confirm that you don't want to go getting your, you need to have your product before you go looking for a brand exception or the GTIN. I mean, you're not taking care of that because, as you just said, there's a photo involved of the product, so forth. So none of this stuff's going to happen until you're ready to pull the trigger on
Correct.
and your product. Okay. All right.
Correct.
Didn't want to assume it.
Yeah,
And
that's the deal. You need images of your product with the branding on it for the GTIN exemption.
I mean, you can have a brand. You can make up a brand a year ago, but what I'm hearing is you better have a product before you start this process for brand exception and GTIN.
And that's why I was saying it's a good idea to get your supplier, if you can, to affix a label, even if it's not the final version or something like that, just so that you can get a head start on the brand exception stuff. And then you can go ahead and get a GTIN exemption, and you can even create a listing for a product, even if you don't have images. But at that point, you would have a couple images, even if they're not the ones that you would ultimately use on your final listing. You can kind of play around with it and create a dummy listing, because the listing doesn't go live until there's inventory, right? So there's 2 things that prevent your listing from going live. One is no images, you know, so you can start a listing and just don't put any photos, and then it's not going to get, you know, nobody else is going to see it, so you can kind of test and play around with it. And then the other is if you don't have inventory, it's not searchable. So, you know, then it just becomes something you can play around with. And then once you get inventory, then the listing goes live. And of course, you got to create the shipping plan and all that. And I think I like the whole recycling of the process. And I think, you know, over the next few weeks, we'll do, we'll finish up on, you know, we'll do listings, you know, we'll do, what was I just going to say, whatever else is, whole lather rinse for people.
Birds, whatever.
I think that's a great plan.
Oh, shipping plans. That's kind of what I was thinking. Like we can go back over shipping plans and some of that stuff. Because again, you know, we're all new at this, and okay, yeah, whatever, 6 months in or however, whatever. But like, you know, you do something a month ago that you did for the first time with your butt cheeks clenched, you know, worried about, you know, what Amazon was going to do to you or whatever, and then you get approved, and you're like, oh, you forget about it.
Hey, Stuart, can I ask you, how long did it take you from the time your first product at 300 units, from the time you ordered that, I heard you say that it just now landed in the port in LA. So how long did that process take?
I want to say that was probably 2 months ago, at least, that we actually ordered the product,
Wow.
right? Because then it takes 30 days to produce, mass produce, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it takes another 30 days to ship. So it's almost, you know, by the time you're like looking at products, negotiating with suppliers, you know, that could take weeks really, if, you know, unless you just find something that, you know, clicks and works. Then you wind up, you know, putting your down payment or your initial payment, right? And some of you guys used Alibaba. I know, Kim, you did that, right? And Evelyn used Alibaba Trade Assurance.
Yeah.
Then, you know, it goes through the whole production process, and they put you on a production queue, right? A lot of you guys that understand, you know, sales and manufacturing and all this stuff, right? You place your order, and then they're like, okay, we can fit you in, you know, the next, you know, 2, 3, whatever. I think they initially gave us a production start time of 45 days from when they received the initial payment. Wow. So you put your down payment. I mean, they expedited for us a little bit, but essentially, and it could be different with every supplier, but that's the deal. You put your money down, your 30% or whatever it is. It took 45, you know, they say 45 days, and then 30 days of production, and then almost 30 days of shipping. So it could be like 90 days. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, we've got 18 minutes to book club. So.
Oh, book club.
Oh, book club. I didn't read.
Joe, I saw Joe had his hand up and lowered it, and I wanted to just check. And
no, that was me. I'm sorry.
Oh, hey, Regina. We just wanted to see your
Gina.
face. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. I'm sorry. I had too many things booked for one time, and I'm just like a little bit late. But I caught some of it, and I just have one quick question. You were talking about, you know, sending your products as a bulk product or as individual products. Now, if you have some, I didn't think about this before, but what if you have like maybe 10 different products and they're all different? Say maybe I'm doing
you have to do a special,
kind of
what's called,
item or something,
and
they're
all
all
what's called a special individual shipment, where is what we were saying before, where if they're different products, if they're different ASINs in the same box, then it's a special kind of shipment, and it's a little more challenging to do. Versus if most of what we're doing is the same ASIN in a box.
Exactly.
And so that's where you have to have the same number of products in each carton.
Right, but if you have, now I didn't even think about this before, but I do have something that I could consider putting in, some arts and crafts stuff that I do. If I could do it, I mean, it's all art, so it's all different in some sort of another. But I mean, they would all each need an ASIN.
Yes.
Their individual ASIN. They would all need their own ASIN, and then they would all go in a box together. Like
if you do an individual shipment, if they're the same product, then you do the other kind of shipments. Individual.
But they call it an individual
I
shipment.
just did that yesterday, and actually it was pretty easy to do, because all you do is you select each of the ASINs that you're going to include in this shipment, and then create a shipment plan, It worked out really well. Yeah.
Awesome.
But how does it go? I mean, how do you actually label that? They would all be individual.
They create the labels and then you just download them.
Okay, so you would ship it as,
It's
not-
like a mixed box.
Yeah, it's a mixed box, exactly.
Yeah.
is there a
let's-
number in the box? Does it have to be like 10 or 20 or whatever? Or do they give
Yeah,
you a max?
you're gonna include the number of each ASIN that you're including within this
I got it.
shipment box.
Awesome.
I
Well, thank
haven't
you.
done a shipment that included several boxes of the same ASIN, so I wasn't sure about that. What you were talking about having to have the same number in each box, because I haven't
Right.
done that yet.
Yeah, I mean, if you only send one carton, then it's not a big deal. But if you're sending multiple cartons, they have to have the same ASIN, they have to have the same number of units. Let's do shipping plans next week and we'll kind of get more into this. Elmer,
Thanks,
I saw you
guys.
have your hand up,
Appreciate
buddy.
it.
Hey guys,
Stuart.
thanks so much, Stuart, for this. This is really great. I just wanted to touch upon the point of, you know, when you do get to the point of ordering your products to negotiate how many units you need, definitely bring up the point that the outer carton needs to be 25, no more than 25 inches, and that it also can't be more than 50 pounds, because from there, the supplier can tell you how many units are in a carton. So then you can, you know, reverse engineer how many units you actually buy. I mean, that's something that we ended up having to do where we had to repackage some stuff. So our multiples in each carton ended up shifting. But that's why it's really important when you start the conversation on placing the order to just put those Amazon requirements of the outer carton, and then that'll help determine your numbers.
Yeah, and this also applies to getting a shipping quote, right? Because, you know, once you figure out how many units per box, how many total units, how many cartons, blah, 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 then that's the information that you take to your freight forwarder or to your shipping company.
Yeah, I just find that some people forget about, oh yeah, all these Amazon like shipping and labeling requirements till the very end. You really should bring it up front when you have the discussions.
You know, there's that cool supplier agreement that has all the shipping requirements that, you know, from Blue Sky that Sophie recommends that we send to our suppliers with a signature. Have you guys seen that?
The what?
Say that again?
All right. So somewhere, let's see. So does anybody remember seeing that? It's the
What
supplier-
was it, Stuart? I might have it. What is
I got
it?
it right here, so I'll drag it
Okay.
into the chat. And it's interesting because I just saw that they reposted that on the Product University page today. So yeah, this is a supplier packaging agreement, but essentially it has all the different requirements for Amazon. You know, it's something that you can send to your supplier and in theory get them to sign it so that they understand what the requirements are. And then if they don't meet the requirements, Libby, and if they don't meet the requirements, then you know, then they gotta be responsible for that. All right, guys. Any final thoughts before we sign off so that everybody can get some cookies and milk for the book club? Awesome. All right, I'm gonna sign off here. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for your participation, your questions, and really just making this a group experience, because again, we're all in it together. So God bless you guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you, Stu.
Thank you. Good night.
Jeff Jesus.
Cheers.